All right, so it is time to get down to the nitty gritty. In this video, I'm going to talk about the 4 key elements that every good story should have. They are identifiable characters, a significant moment, authentic emotion, and specific details. So let's find out some more about each one. Let's start off with identifiable characters. If you have read any book on storytelling, or maybe you remember this lesson from 3rd grade, every good story has to have a hero, right? You actually don't need a hero. What you do need is an identifiable character. And by that, I mean you just need somebody who relates to your audience. You need someone in your story, or numerous characters in your story, maybe it's more than one person, who your audience can see themselves in. They can relate to that person. So you want your audience to connect and care about your characters. It could be one, it could be many, but it doesn't have to be this epic hero's journey. And I just want to take a moment to mention that products are not characters. So we don't relate to a cheeseburger. We don't emotionally connect to the cheeseburger, but we can certainly emotionally connect to the person who makes the handcrafted, wonderful cheeseburger. It's close to dinner time. You guys don't know. But yes, I hope I wanted to reiterate that point. You don't need a hero. You don't need an epic product. You do need an identifiable character. You also need authentic emotion. I feel like it goes without saying that if you want somebody to emotionally connect to your story has to have some emotion. A lot of times when I tell people, tell me a story about your life, they'll start with a timeline of events, like a static timeline, a chronological parsing together, if you will, is not a story. A story has some emotion in it. It makes us laugh. It makes us cry. Fear is an emotion that you'll hear a lot of, especially politicians make in the stories that they tell nowadays. But yes, at some point there has to be some emotional connection, some emotional resonance that your audience will have with your story. And again, the goal is to really help your audience feel empathy. And if they don't feel emotion, they won't feel empathy. And empathy is the driver behind connection. So just remember that. You really have got to have some type of authentic emotion in your story. The third thing any great story has is a significant moment. So a lot of you, I'm sure, remember the beginning, middle, end of a story. Well, that all revolves around your significant moment. This is the thing that happens, the thing that got us from point A to point B, the piece in the middle that gets us excited, where the emotion is driving. You need to have some type of significant moment upon which your story is built around. You can think of it as a circumstance, an experience, a moment upon which you learned something, you came through something significant happened. It doesn't necessarily have to involve conflict, but there has to be some emotional driving behind that moment. And again, that's where your beginning will lead up to that significant moment. And then as we pause, we'll think about, the ramifications and reflections of that significant moment. And that's how you go, down your narrative arc. The last component that any good story has are the specific details. And the more specific, the better. So sometimes these come in the form of unexpected imagery or details, but these are what really make your story unique and the ones that will make it feel genuine and authentic to your audience. And that's what you're going for, because when it's genuine, authentic, and when we can connect to those details, when we can immerse ourselves in the story world, that is where that emotional connection will happen. Specific details work because they engage the imagination of your audience. Like I said, you really want to immerse them in the world of the story so that that story can emotionally resonate. If this is done right, the audience will recognize the world that they're in. It will be relatable to them. So that's it. I am going to look for those story elements in every story that you create through this course. I will look to make sure that there are identifiable characters, authentic emotion, a significant moment, and specific details. And you'll get my feedback as you work through the different modes or mediums of story to help you figure out how all those pieces work together so that your stories can truly be compelling, and again, so they can do the work that you want them to do for you out in the world.